Shout out to G-Man Boxing.
Alright, so this weekend, Vasyl Lomachenko, makes his return to the ring. This is his first fight following on from his loss to Teofimo Lopez. And it's against Japanese fighter Masayoshi, I think is how you pronounce his name, Nakatani. For this video, I'm just going to call him Nakatani because I can pronounce that. Pronounce that fine. Alright. Now, in terms of comeback fights, I'm actually pretty pleased with this fight. I think it's a good fight. I've seen some people say that they weren't happy with it. They felt that this is going to be too easy a fight for Loma. You know, me personally, no. I think that based upon the two names on this guy's resume who you would recognise, Verdejo and Teofimo Lopez. Obviously, he lost Teofimo Lopez fighting, he beat Felix Verdejo. It was a tough fight. It was competitive. At the start, he was down early on, but then he was able to take a full hold to stop Verdejo. We know what's happened to Verdejo since then. We go on about that, but they're the two names. So me personally, I would say he is a top 10. Now, the Lopez fight was an interesting fight. If you go on BoxRec and you look at the scorecards for Nakatani Lopez, you would think it's an easy fight for Teofimo Lopez. I can assure you this now. The scorecards for that fight were some of the most disgraceful scorecards you'd see. I mean, the fact that one judge had it 190-109 and two had it 118-110 does not even come close telling the story about how that fight went. That was a very close competitive fight. I personally felt Teofimo Lopez nicked it. Well, I say nicked it. I thought he won it. You know, I think I had it 8-4 at the time. But there's a lot of people who felt that Nakatani actually won the fight. And there's people I know outside YouTube who do have good boxing brains, who are hardcores, who said the same to me, you know, back in the gym when I used to go to the boxing gym. They said, no, we thought Lopez lost that fight. So that was a very good competitive fight. And to put up a performance like that against Teofimo Lopez, and obviously Lopez, we would regard him as number one in the division. This is not a straightforward fight for Vasyl Lomachenko. And Lomachenko as well, you got to figure, he's going to the back of a loss, right? And a loss that, in my opinion, was a lot more clear than the first one. The fight against Salido, I forget his name at this stage, Orlando Salido. The fight against him, where he was hit low a lot, it was close, it was split decision. This fight to Teofimo Lopez, it was competitive, but Teofimo Lopez was clearly the man who won the fight. All right, inactivity for Lomachenko. You know, he's been out of the ring since October, and injuries, recurring injuries. You know, that shoulder's been a problem for him for many, many years now. Whether you think it played a factor in the Teofimo Lopez fight or not, we do have to take it into consideration. He's had problems with that shoulder going back to, I think, 2016, 2017. I think in around about the time he fought Rigondeaux was when he started having the shoulder issues. So this has been a factor for Lomachenko for a while now. Will it play a factor in this fight? I don't know. What I do think will play a factor in this fight is Nakatani's height. 5'11". For a lightweight, very tall. People say Luke Campbell's tall and big. This guy is massive at lightweight, and he's very big at the weight as well. We know Lomachenko, realistically, his preferred weight, or the preferred weight we'd like to see him at, would be super feather. He's pretty much good at that weight. At this weight, he's very undersized, and against someone who was just so much bigger, you know, in terms of height and in terms of body mass, it could pose some risk to Lomachenko. I don't think that Nakatani is as big a puncher as Teofimo Lopez is. I think with Teofimo Lopez early on in that fight, Vasyl Lomachenko felt the power. He felt Teofimo Lopez's power early on and thought, you know what, I have confidence in my ability, I have confidence in my chin, but I don't want to take any unnecessary risks against this guy. I'll wait until the power kind of diminishes with time, which it will, and it gradually did, and that's when you saw Lomachenko come into the Teofimo Lopez fight more. I suspect something similar will happen in this fight. As I said, I don't think Nakatani is the puncher that Teofimo Lopez is, but Lomachenko can start slow. We've seen that in the past. I think that the fact that he's going to be dealing with such a height and reach, you know, advantage in terms of Nakatani, because Lomachenko's got very short reach, you know, even by lightweight standards. He's only about 5'7", and it's below, I think it's like a 60-something inch reach. He has very short, you know, and I think that Nakatani, although he's not, as I said, on the level of a Teofimo Lopez in terms of punching power, he certainly isn't feather-fisted. He has respectable power in there. So I think Lomachenko will take a look early on. I think that with Teofimo Lopez is more skilled. He's got more energy, he hits harder, his feet are quicker, and he's got better punch selection, you know. Nakatani, he has his hooks and his straight right. Now, it's a very good straight right, mind you, he has. It's a very good straight right, and against the southpaw in Vasyl Lomachenko, who has been caught square on sometimes with straight right hands. The one that comes to mind is the Jorge Linares fight, where he just kind of squared the shoulders, didn't really have much defense, and he wasn't necessarily hurt by the knockdown or anything like that, but it was the way he was just caught so square, his shoulders kind of up, and Jorge Linares walked Lomachenko onto that, he went down. Could I see something like this happening? Potentially, although I don't think Nakatani is as sophisticated or certainly as fast as Linares was back then anyway. So I definitely see this fight being interesting. Like, for me personally, I think it's going to be a tough fight. I think for Lomachenko to take this, it's a good comeback fight. It's not a fight where you just look at it and you just think, oh, this is a walkover for Lomachenko. No, this is going to be a tough fight. Whilst, as I said, I think the height and reach, I think that the straight right, I think they're all going to play factors in, the success that Nakatani has. I think that Lomachenko, his superior movement, his footwork, which is still, I can't picture that's going to regress at all, and his body attack. Teofimo Lopez threw a couple of body shots in that fight as well when they fought, and they were paying dividends for Teofimo Lopez. I think that Teofimo Lopez realised early on, because he was quite wild early on in that fight, if you see, he realised that this guy is better than as advertised. He's tough, he can definitely take a good shot, although Felix Verdejo had him down a few times. He still is quite durable. He's definitely durable. He's only lost once, and he went to distance with Teofimo Lopez, who's a big puncher at that weight. So Lomachenko's going to look at this guy and think, he's durable, he's long, I'm going to take my time with this guy. The body attacks will pay dividends. We know Lomachenko, he's not feather-fisted, but he's not a devastating puncher, certainly not at lightweight, but his body attacks are very, very good, very underrated at that weight, and I think the body punching will pay dividends to Vasyl Lomachenko in this fight. I wouldn't, do I think he might drop Nakatani? Possibly. If he does, I reckon it'll be body shots. It'll be sustained body work for Lomachenko. I think Lomachenko's going to win this fight, but do I see a stoppage? No. If you want my opinion, if you want my pick, Vasyl Lomachenko is winning this fight on a 12-round unanimous points decision. However, I do think that people will be drawing comparisons to how he does as opposed to how Teofimo Lopez does. As I said, the scorecards for the Teofimo Lopez fight are absurd. So I reckon this is going to be a kind of 115, 113, 116, 112 type of fight in favour of Lomachenko. Maybe a 117, 111 if Lomachenko's really switched on and he really goes, from the get-go. But in and around that. So you might look at that, and if you see like a 116, 112, you'd be like, oh, it was reasonably competitive. But look at Teofimo, 119, those scorecards were absurd. Teofimo Lopez and Nakatani had a competitive fight. Make no mistake about that. It was especially early on, it was very competitive. Very competitive. Nakatani, in my opinion, you could even argue he won the first 3-4 rounds. It was very competitive. I remember that fight well. I've watched that fight a few times. Very good fight. Very competitive. So I see something like that happening. At the end of the day, Lomachenko, in my opinion, what I would love to see from him is for him to fight Oscar Valdez at 130 pounds. He seems fixated on staying put at 135. At 135, I'd love to see him fight a Devin Haney, Ryan Garcia. Unlikely, as I said, to happen. Those guys would. Devin Haney, I'm sure would, but Ryan Garcia, I don't know what the crack is with him or what he's doing. A rematch with Teofimo Lopez. At the end of the day, Teofimo Lopez has George Kambosos to deal with. It's been rescheduled, right? We know that it's been rescheduled. Kambosos is making claims that it's to do with the weight. We know Teofimo Lopez is massive at 135 pounds, and we're living in a time where it's easy as hell to get out of a fight nowadays. That's what I will say. I'll just leave it at that. It's easy to get out of a fight nowadays, or have a fight rescheduled, I should say, if you need more time. It's very easy, Lopez versus Loma, rematch, same thing, personally. I think that with Teofimo Lopez, unless he's absolutely beyond dead at the scales, he'll always have that power early on. And he was able to buzz Loma to 12 rounds as well, so he carries that power as well, but it does diminish, as it would with most fighters. I think that Lomachenko, if he starts faster against Teofimo Lopez, if they were to have a rematch, he puts himself more at risk of getting clipped and getting taken out. And I don't discount that for a second happening. I think that Teofimo Lopez is a better uppercut. I think he hits harder. I think he's just superior to Nakatani. I think he's, in terms of skill, out and out raw skill, raw talent, you'd say Vasyl Lomachenko has more talent. But at the end of the day, you get to a weight division where size just is too great for your talent. I think we're kind of at that with Lomachenko, and I think we might see something similar in this fight against Nakatani. In a sense, I'm saying Lomachenko's going to win the fight, don't misconstrue what I'm saying, but although Nakatani is limited, he's slow-footed, very slow-footed is Nakatani, he's so much bigger than Lomachenko. He'll have success just based upon that. He will. As I said, I'm going with Lomachenko to win this fight on points, 116, 112 type of scorecard. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. I hope I didn't make this drawn out. I try and keep these predictions as simple as I can and just kind of give my 2 cents. Don't go with like a talk about, when he throws a jab, he overextends, 2 centimeters too long. And that's what, I don't go into that. I just say what I see, and I see the fighter's strengths, fighter's weaknesses, and based upon strengths and weaknesses, I see Lomachenko winning this fight on points, but having a very tough time doing it. That's my thoughts. Hope you enjoyed it. If you did, leave a like. Help your boy out. Subscribe, of course, if you haven't already. Hashtag GMAS Rocks, all that good stuff. Hit the notification bell if you want as well. Always helps. For now, lads and lassies, I'll talk to you